So finally, leaving a legacy is the last category. So what are the most important lessons you've learned in life so far?
I think that not to be deterred by anything, just to keep on going and leave friends behind. I think that when I took over Marples Ridgeway here, we had to get rid of a lot of the board because the whole nature of the work had changed. We had enormous number of people in the shipping department, but we weren't doing any shipping anymore, and they just sat around did nothing. So we had to make those hard decisions, and we made them in a way that left people feeling that it was the right decision. I remember at that time we made a huge number of people head office redundant. There were tears, and some people had been working with the company for 20 years, and somebody stood up in the back and said, you know, it's all use crying, but, you know, in fact, we haven't made proper money for years. He said, my department has nothing to do. He said, we play cards all day. He said, unless somebody did something to the company now, it would go under. So it's taking those sort of decisions, and if they're the right decisions, and doing them in the right way. You know, this idea of firing people on the end of an email or something like that, it just doesn't work. And I think that's the legacy. We left more friends behind than we've left enemies. And if there are any enemies, I'm not in touch with them. You know, they're not haunting me in any way. And the other legacy is keeps on coming back, the same thing. Family, family, family. It's so important to me that you're happy, that Tasha's happy, that your kids are happy, you know, and we'll do anything to make that happen. You know, I know it's a bit difficult when you've got 80-year-old parents who are gallivanting around the world the whole time, and not see all here, but glory in that too, that we're still active and we're doing things. And I say to you and Tasha in particular, but to all our friends, we love you dearly. We never written an insincere word to any of you. We feel that you've given as much to us as we've given to you, and that's what partnership's about.
This question probably has almost been covered already, but sort of what advice you would pass on to next generations, maybe to Marilena, who's kind of starting out in her life now.
I wouldn't dream of giving Marilena advice, Tony. It would be rejected for a start. I mean, she's the one thing about all three of the grandchildren. I wish we'd had 33, but we've only got 3. And is that they throw themselves into life. So my biggest problem in talking politically or anything is millenniums. You know, I mean, you know, that millennials, they somehow think that the world has to be a perfect place. They don't have to do anything. You know, example of people saying to us, well, you know, I've got my degree now, but I'm not really ready for responsibility, and I think I'll just take a couple of years off and I'll go and, you know, let's go and sit in Parliament Square and protest against the Palestinians when they've never been there. I've been to Palestine. I've been to the West Bank. I've seen what goes on there. I've been to Israel. I've been to Lebanon. I've been on the border with Lebanon. You understand those sort of things, and all I ask from my grandchildren is they take the time to read newspapers, understand the broad things so they can make value judgments. You know, they don't listen to the rubbish like, you know, what goes on in America at the moment and misinformation and everything else. Make the judgments for themselves. And I know that they've got terrific parents, so they're all doing well.
So then just to end it off, actually, just got a question from Lindsay. So it's in reference to Cliff. And do you recall meeting Cliff in a mismatched suit at Canary Wharf?
Was Cliff with a mismatched suit or me?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It could be either or.
Well, Cliff's just a friend who's died, but, and I'm the executive of his will. But I think the biggest thing with Cliff, and I don't know whether recording now, the biggest thing with Cliff is not to do with whether I or he was wearing a mismatched suit, and he would, if his suit was mismatched or he was wearing odd shoes, he would have carried it off. Yeah. And the same with me. I think the best thing about Cliff is I won't go into the Zulu principle, but it's a thing developed about how you can understand details about people just by reading a couple of books very quickly. And the thing is to in deciding we were going into property development in the UK and not doing so much international construction in strange countries like Cameroon and stuff, was to spend the Anglo-American property people came over, and we spent a week on a very detailed program, 6 days, and we saw 2 top firms of quantity surveyors, 2 top firms of charter surveyors, 2 banks, 2 frame contractors and things like that. Very organized program. Only disrupted by being stuck in a lift in Jones Lang Wootton for a couple of hours. But all of them were, because we were all from South Africa, they were all pontificating about, well, I don't think you don't understand how we do things here. Well, all this sort of bloody nonsense, and that really gets up my bloody nerves. The only exception of that was Cliff. I remember now Cliff getting up from behind his desk and walking around and shaking us by the hand. He was a very impressive individual, very thick hair and bushy eyebrows, and he was a significant human being, and has been ever since. And his first comment was, well, gentlemen, glad to greet you here. What can we do to do business together? He didn't lecture us. We sat there and we talked about what they could do for us. And they did do things for us forever. I say Cliff's one of the only people that I've employed as a quantity surveyor. Third parties have employed, and I've been a customer. And I've done things with him in the way of investing in business and everything else. And again, never a cross word, fantastic relationship. He drove his Rolls Royce for Tashi's wedding. He wore a peak cap. It's just a wonderful experience. So that's what I remember most about Cliff, and walking around the desk and saying, what business can we do together? And the whole conversation was about what he could do for us and what we could do for him, whereas all the other people lectured us, even when stuck in a lift.
Amazing. So that's actually a wrap then.